Eddie, the long-standing international brand of the inherently polite, agreeable Canadian is colliding directly with a harsh economic reality.
Well, Gary, for sure, the social trust is fraying on the ground as competition for scarce resources, housing, and healthcare turns public spaces into high-friction environments.
Wow. And let's have a look at things here. So, we have the stress of the squeeze. Persistent inflation and a severe housing crisis are driving everyday anxieties and baseline social patience down. Erosion of civic trust, public spaces, public transit, and digital town squares are experiencing escalating hostility and confrontation. And the identity crisis, well, the superficial branding of Canadian politeness is giving way to a more defensive, survival-oriented insularity. Well, for some reason, I had a tough time getting my tongue around that word. Anyway, politeness as a luxury, Eddie. Social cohesion is relatively easy to maintain during periods of economic expansion and abundance. It becomes a luxury, though, when citizens feel they are actively competing for basic public services. The political exploitation of friction, instead of lowering the temperature, modern political messaging systematically weaponizes the growing societal frustration to entrench polarization. And the reality of the data. Public sentiment polling increasingly shows Canadians feel more isolated, less safe in urban centers, and more skeptical of their fellow citizens than a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, I thought that this was a great little way to end our Canadian-based discussion this evening, because I watched a couple of, TikToks the other day, and it was actually fans who were here in Toronto and in Vancouver for FIFA matches, and they were saying that they did not find it as Canadians as friendly and as polite as what we've marketed ourselves and in the reputation that we have built up. And one of them, I sort of thought, you two, you're from the U.S. Who the hell are you to be going on about Vancouver and the Lower East Side? Now you know why, as you said, now you know why you got your Airbnb for so cheap. Because they were right on the fringe of the Lower East Side, and that's just a drug neighborhood. And and he was going on about fentanyl and all of this sort of thing. And he said, yes, I know we have issues in LA and some of the bigger centers as well. He said, but, just saying that our visit to Vancouver overall has been pleasant, but you really need to get a hold of this situation. And of course, they're under the impression that the government is just, and basically is really, giving the druggies what they need, what they want, Hamilton, I watched a piece just the other night on Hamilton, and there's an area of Hamilton now, and I don't know how they still have businesses open.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the drugs and the violence and everything else. And even here in Montreal, you look around, like I went out the other night, and just down the street on one of the benches, there was a guy, and as I was approaching with the dog, he didn't appear to me to be moving. So I walked by and stopped and kind of looked to see if I could see any kind of signs of life. And he appeared to be okay, that he was sleeping. And if I had thought that he might have been in medical distress, I would have called 911, Because I'll tell you one thing I'm not going to do, and it sounds cruel, but there is no way I am going to try and intervene with somebody out on the street, because you don't know what they're on and how they're going to react. 911, call the police and let them handle it. But yeah, no, there's no way. I'm sorry. You can call me whatever you want. I call myself smart not to walk up and shake a guy and all of a sudden have him jump up and knife you or shoot you. As we were walking down Barrie the other day, and there were two police cadets out on patrol. And when we walked by on the way to my doctor's appointment, there was a guy with his blanket and his bike and everything stretched out, tucked in under an overhang on a building. Coming back, that's the guy that they were with, and at that point, they were searching him. They had him awake and searching him. First of all, a very weird situation. On the sidewalk was a pile of kitties' shoes, about no bigger than that. Oh, and there was, look at those shoes. What would he be doing with those? And then as they're patting him down, she thought she saw one of the cadets taking a knife from the guy, like a curved blade knife. And as she said that, around the corner came a cruiser hot and pulled up to give them assistance. But that's what you're up against. Like, you don't know. And that's why if I suspect that somebody's in some kind of distress, I'll call 911. I'll hang out at the corner or whatever until they arrive, but I'm not going near that individual.
Well, I think you did the right thing, Gary. Because look, a lot of these homeless folks, they need to defend themselves somehow, because they're also targeted by homeless folks and people in distress. But they're also targeted by kids wanting to have a fun time and abuse some of these people that are in distress in the streets. So obviously they're going to have something to defend themselves, and God forbid a good Samaritan come by and out of panic or whatnot, they'll hurt you. So I think you did the right thing, Gary. And here's the thing. Yeah, you know what? We've got the World Cup in Vancouver. We've got the World Cup in Toronto. Other major cities throughout the year have all sorts of festivals. It's festival season in Montreal. We've got the Jazz Fest in full tilt. We've got the Comedy Fest coming up. I mean, there's all kinds of things going on. We have tourists coming in from all over the place. And you know what? As time goes on and the economy further stretches the capability of somebody to take care of themselves and keep a home and whatnot, we're going to be struggling. We're seeing more and more people that are in distress on the streets for whatever reason. Areas becoming more depressed. And yes, our tourists are going to be exposed to this from time to time. But I am kind of the belief, Gary, that even though that the stresses of our Canadian society today might put a damper on a lot of people's emotional well-being, I still kind of think that Canadians in general will go the extra mile to be pleasant to the people that do visit our cities and visit our country. I feel sorry for the American tourists that do decide to come up and visit our wonderful country after their president threatens us and continues to threaten us on a continuing basis. You are going to get a cold shoulder. You may get a cold shoulder from Canadians, and I'd have to say justifiably so, considering the rhetoric and serious attacks from said president. and unfortunately labeling good American people. It's unfortunate, but it's I would just say it's human nature. As much as we want to be the good Canadians we like to consider ourselves as, and they are unfortunately going to run into frustrated Canadians, and they are unfortunately going to be running into some of the less desirable areas of our cities, as these folks in Vancouver came through. So yeah, I've seen those as well, Gary. People saying, "Well, I thought Canadians would be much nicer than I thought they would be." I did see those comments coming from a few Americans. I get it. They should never be treated if they're spending their money here poorly. And by the same token, I also saw a few from people from Europe where they said, "Well, you know what? We thought we'd be a little more respected here. I heard all about Canadian hospitality. It's not bad, but I kind of expected more." So I'm not exactly sure what those particular comments mean, but darn Gary, I think you and I as Canadians will try our darndest to put our best foot forward on in the worst of circumstances, unless you have to say something that justifies telling them, "No, I'm sorry, this is not the way it works." So I don't know. Maybe somebody pushed back on something or other they weren't happy about. Wanting a pint of beer at 4 o'clock in the morning after the bars closed on at 3 o'clock, and they weren't happy about that. Who knows? Who knows? I genuinely think that Canadians are very good natured. In my travels business wise, I don't think I've actually walked into a country or flown into a country where I wasn't well received either as a businessman or as a tourist in the city. So I think genuinely people are nice. I guess it just depends on what part of the city you walk into and what a particular circumstance befalls the person that you're running into that may have been giving you a cold shoulder.
Well, I, I again watching some shorts and browsing through to see what I could find related to this particular issue. And in Toronto and in Vancouver, a lot of residents have had it with the FIFA organization, and the demand that it has put upon city infrastructure, and the detours and changes in bus routes and everything else, and they've had it. And I understand that. I really do understand it. That combined with the pricing and everything that goes with that, I totally understand it. And I saw a title on a YouTube video a while ago, and I think I mentioned it once before on here, Eddie, that Montreal dodged a bullet by saying no to FIFA. And I think we did, frankly. So you have that aspect of it. And then, we've been at war, economic war for 18 months. And our grocery prices are going up on a daily basis, not a weekly, not a monthly, but a daily basis. It's getting tougher and tougher to put food on the table while keeping money for rent and trying to have a couple of dollars left over for the kids or for yourselves to go out, even go out and grab an ice cream cone. It's getting tougher. Then on the other side, and this is the one that really burns my ass, to put it bluntly, is you have Americans going overseas, and the minute they are getting ready to land in whatever country, they slap on maple leaf flags and they do the maple washing.
Yep.
And let on that they're from Canada. And you know what? Here's the thing. And yes, I'm going to stereotype to a degree, but damn it all, if the shoe fits, wear it, because this is the way it is. There are a lot of Americans who travel who are loud and obnoxious. and they think that they're God's gift to the world the minute they step off their cruise ship or off the airplane or whatever. And those are the people who are giving some of the quiet Americans who are ashamed of what's happening in the White House a bad name as well. You're getting all lumped together. The same as we're all getting lumped together because a lot of us are getting testy. But some of that testiness may not be a Canadian. As a matter of fact, a lot of it, especially when you're traveling overseas, not Canadian. So keep that in mind as well. And you know, that really burns me because they laugh at us and the MAGAs look down on us, but they're among the first to slap out the maple leaf and the backpacks with the maple leaf on and, oh, I'm from Canada. You know what? You can almost smell it a mile away that you're lying just by your demeanor. Unfortunately, though, we still get painted with your brush. And frankly, I don't like it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of hearing about it. And so if I have to call you out and I have to call out others, and even though there's collateral damage for some of the good people in the U.S., so be it. Because again, we're in a war.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents worth on it.
I'll throw in my nickel and dime on that one, Gary. I've actually come across Americans that were wearing a Canadian patch on their backpack, and I mean, I didn't bring them to task on it. I just kind of shook my head and just ignored him completely, and that burns my gizzard when somebody else is wearing the flag of my country, because where they're from, they may not necessarily be treated the way they would expect to be treated, knowing they're from the United States. And you see that all over the place when you travel in Europe. Where are you from? I'm from Canada. Oh, you're from Canada. Wow, we thought you were an American. And for a moment there, I feel bad for good motivated and good feeling Americans. But then by the same token, I'm thinking to myself, okay, there must be a reason why you really don't like the patronage of American tourists in your establishment. So makes me proud when I get something like that. Makes me proud. Makes me a proud Canadian. And thank you for welcoming me as a Canadian to your establishment and to your country. It's but I do hear that quite often. Oh yes, you're Canadian. Great, fantastic. We thought you were American. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it, Gary. It's very frustrating for sure.
It really is. And, when you watch some of the Maple MAGA and the way they go on about Canada and how they think that they're bringing us to our knees with the current occupant of the Oval Office. No, you're not. You're just making us much crustier than what we normally are. And it's going to come back to bite you big time. It already is. Wait till your Social Security is gone. And a few other, you're already losing your whatever medical coverage you had. So, enjoy. Just enjoy. And by the way, God help anyone that I see maple washing. Because I will have a few choice words.
Yeah. Actually, you know what, Gary, come to think of it, the last 18 months, Canadians have endured under down south administration. I too, if I come across a situation like that where there is maple washing, I will certainly speak up, because I've been under attack for 18 months now. There comes a point in any person's life where you do take a stand. You'll take a slap to one cheek. You'll turn your face. Take a slap in the other cheek. Maybe I'll turn my face again. But certainly the third one's not going to happen. So I like that thinking. I agree with you.
And I just realized I was going to change the lower third for this segment
Right.
to sorry, not sorry. And I forgot to change it. I just looked now and realized I'd forgotten to change it because that really does sum it up. Sorry, not sorry,
Not sorry.
not in the least.
So sad for
So,
that.
Eddie, what's our takeaway?
Well, folks, our takeaway. When survival and affordability become daily struggles, which we've all seen, the politeness veneer is the very first thing that burns off.